Look here on this Tuesday night as we discuss the brand new follow up, or I should say, prequel to X. It is Ty West Pearl. You guys know how much I adore X. If you were to ask me, name your top three directors of 2022, I am going to mention Ty West in that group way up at the top because of what he was able to do with X that is elevated Texas Chainsaw Massacre, right, to a level that is just artistically on fire. And I always value films that are directed to the nines, that are just everything is there. Before we get into Pearl, I want to mention you see a couple things here. One, we have Mia Goth. It looks like she's possessed by the devil with the red beaming off her eyes. And then we also have the Pearl handkerchief blood spattered all about here. They handed both of those out to us tonight here at the A24 event because tonight we had Ty West introing the film from Alamo Drafthouse in Brooklyn to all of us scattered throughout the country, including here in Los Angeles. Okay, let's get to the very basic thing right now that you all want to know. Let's go with the lead. Is Pearl greater than X? No, it's not. But hold on. It is another artistic gem from Ty West. Okay, this is a director that as I go forward over the years, we are going to see and mention Ty West in the names of the elite directors out there working right now. No question about it. Now, if I were to compare the two films, X is very much, as I said at the top here, Texas Chainsaw Massacre remix with heavy artistic flourishes, okay? This is more of a character study centering directly on Pearl Mia Goth. And I said in my initial reaction coming out of the theater here just a short time ago that we need to discuss Mia Goth in any awards conversations that we are having about Best Actress. You have to do it. I don't care about genre. I don't care about A24. I don't care about niche. I care about quality of performance. And Mia Goth delivers everything you want when you're looking for an award-worthy performance here in Pearl. This is a psychological film. We are getting inside the head of Pearl as she becomes this serial killer. And very much like X, okay? You remember how X, remember, by the way, we're not doing spoilers here, so you're totally good here. When you watch X, we had that really slow build that you're sitting there going, when's it going to erupt? When are we going to get to the horror portion of this film? And Ty does the same thing with Pearl. At some point, I promise you, when you sit through this film, you're going to say, is this a horror film? When are we going to get to it? It's coming, okay? And when it does, yes, it arrives big time. So you got to have the patience like you did with X. But again, this is more Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, right, than it is Silence of the Lambs, although I would argue Silence of the Lambs still is very heady as well. This is very much, again, all about Mia Goth and how she became Pearl, how she became the old woman in the house that we meet in X. The movie's set in 1918, which is really interesting because we go way back in time, World War I, and we get this period piece that expands the scope. Because remember, in X, obviously, we pretty much were on that farmhouse. We were there on that land the entire time. Here, we go out to the city nearby, and I think that makes the film feel bigger. And one thing that I want to say, though, about Pearl, and a decision that I think might have been a better decision than what Ty did, I think you might want to shoot this film in black and white. It just feels like a 1918 film, right? Going back, origin story. I feel like we could have done this in black and white, and maybe the film is even stronger. And I rarely say that. It's strange. I remember back to Nightmare Alley. You remember they had the first version, the color version, right? And then they had the black and white version they released soon after and said, hey, which one do you like? And like I said with Nightmare Alley, I liked the beginning in color, right? The carnival stuff. And then the end, the noir stuff, I like in black and white. For Pearl, I feel like the whole film could have been black and white. because of the period aspect of it. But listen, this is still very much of a winner from Ty West. And it's all about, this time, it's all about Mia Goth. I mean, all of it is about Mia and her performance. There is a monologue in this film that is at least 5 minutes. I mean, it is, I hate saying jaw dropping because it's so cliche. But what else are you going to say? Astonishing, jaw dropping. You're sitting there going, oh my God, this is still going on. And she's going through every emotion you can imagine while she's having this monologue, this unveiling, okay? No spoilers. When you watch that, that is an awards reel. That's what we're looking for when we're saying, hey, this is your Oscar moment. This is it. Mia Goth and Pearl. Who was better than that? The monologue that I just watched. I have a feeling at the end of the year, I'm going to say nobody. That's how strong Mia Goth is in Pearl. Let's get to the comments here on MMT. I appreciate all of you being here tonight for the live stream first reaction to Pearl. And again, no spoilers. So if you're going to ask me something about spoilers, we're not going to do it. But anything else, box office, you want to talk about anything else related to Pearl and A24 and award season, let's open it up and let's get after it. Noah Phillips, I told you to come with this comment on Twitter, and you did. You brought it here, and that's what I wanted. Thank you, Noah, for doing that. Could this film get any major awards recognition from the Globes and Academy despite its status as both an A24 film and a horror film? No, because we know that the Academy has no idea how to value performances within horror films. It's like, I'm sorry, it's a horror film. We cannot judge this as award worthy. It's certainly not an Oscar worthy performance because it's a horror film. Ask Lupita in Us. Or, yes, Hereditary, Toni Collette. Are you kidding me? These are two performances that, how are those not included in the Best Actors conversation? How are they not nominated, okay? And that is what's going to happen again here to Mia Goth, because this is even smaller than those. I mean, this is a film that's not going to even do Hereditary numbers, right? Certainly not going to do Us numbers. So visibility-wise, I mean, let's not forget half. 95+% of the Academy will never watch Pearl. Hell, they probably don't even know what X is. So asking them to vote for Mia Goth for an Oscar is impossible. You're asking the impossible. And that's the problem we have in the award space. It's not about best performance in an awards film. It is about best performance, period, of all the films that occurred within the eligibility year. So for me, right now, if you were to ask me who are my top actresses of 2022 so far, Mia Goth, Aubrey Plaza, those two come right to mind. Now, listen, I've not seen a ton of stuff from the fall yet. It's all coming, okay? Didn't go to any festivals. I know what I have coming with Michelle Williams. I know we certainly have Anna in Blonde. We've got a ton of stuff to talk about that's coming. I get it. Empire of Light, Olivia Colman. But when we have that conversation, and we will, you got to throw Mia Goth in there. Thank you for the question. No, it's a great one. Let's go to some more here, and then we'll get into, I'm going to go hard on Pearl here, and then we'll open it up like we always do here on MMT. By the way, give me a like if you could, and a subscribe if you haven't. I imagine you've done both of those things already, but if you haven't, please do so. Jay, good evening to you. After Pearl, where do you stand on Ty West? Do you still believe he's one of the best up-and-coming directors? No question about it. In fact, I led with that, right, Jay? I already answered this question. You probably sent it before I started. This is the reality, that this is a talent that is really up there with the best when you watch X and then you follow here with Pearl. Whatever he does next, and we know it's going to be Maxine, right? The third in the trilogy here that's going to follow Mia's character from X into Los Angeles and trying to be an actress. I cannot wait. Listen, you talk about a film that I want to see. I want to see Maxine now. It's greenlit, apparently, or it's very close to being greenlit by A24. It's got to be because they're announcing it. And now we just have to wait for it. But I think it's amazing that he shot X and Pearl at the same time, right? You got two films out of your crew that's out there. I'm trying to think, other than Mia, though, I don't believe there's anybody else from X in this, which would make sense, obviously. I thought that maybe we would get her boyfriend, and I'm forgetting his name from X. I thought that maybe he'd play a role, but remember, this is back in 1918, so you'd need to have a younger version of him. So we eventually do get that, but it's not going to be the same actor. But with Mia, it worked because you had her in the prosthetics, right? So it makes sense when you roll it back to 1918. So yeah, Ty West, one of the best directors going. Are you kidding me? I can't wait for Maxine and whatever else he does. And I always say this about him in Chris Gore. Thank you. Let's go. Let's do it. By the way, Gore, I got to make fun of Gore for a second. Chris Gore tonight, I said, listen, you got to come to Pearl. I said, no, I'm going to go see The Woman King. Go, that's fine. I want to see The Woman King too, but we had a choice tonight in LA. You could see Pearl or The Woman King. And I said, well, Pearl's a little closer to where I am right now. I really want to see Pearl because I love X. I'm going to see Pearl. I'll see Woman King later in the week. So Chris goes, nah, I'm going to go see Woman King. We get there tonight. By the way, I want to mention one thing. When I say this is, you guys know this is true. I get there. And apparently A24 was so kind as to give all of us $50 gift cards to buy food as we watch Pearl, okay? Because it's Alamo Draft House and they have sandwiches and drinks. And I ordered food, put it on the card they gave me. But let me tell you, and this is, you guys know this, you could have given me the $50 card and I would come on here and absolutely savage the film right afterwards if I didn't love it. Because that's how I roll. I do not roll with, here's the $50 gift card, therefore the movie's good. So this is, it worked out perfectly tonight because I love Pearl, not as much as X, but I really like Pearl and so much of it that it works where I can still feel confident telling you that I'm not telling you to go see Pearl because I got a $50 cash voucher to eat and drink while I watch Pearl. But Chris missed it. And I told him this. I said, you could have had like 7 Trulies. The guy literally has like a Truly station hooked up at his house. Like, let me get another one just on draft 24/7. Let's go to JT. Good evening to you. I like the Pearl thing in the background. Thank you. I mean, again, look, I figure this is a great way to feature these two things. Her head on a stick, and then, of course, the handkerchief. The bandana that I probably will wear around. I think it's beautiful. Plus with the blood spatter, it's unbelievable. Can't wait to see it on Thursday. You're going to like it, JT. I'm just going to tell you, it's not the same film as X. I imagine you figured that out. So don't expect the same thing. Again, psychological, getting inside the head of Mia Goth and Pearl and how she became the serial killer that she ends up as in X. That is what this film is. Without a single spoiler, I just gave it to you. Gone Girl, what film should I see Thursday night? Pearl or The Woman King? Listen, that's hard. For me, I chose Pearl over The Woman King tonight because how much I love X. Okay, so I adore X. It's one of my favorite movies of the year. So if you're going to offer a prequel to one of my favorite movies of the year, it's very hard for me to turn down that to go see anything. So The Woman King I'll end up seeing probably Thursday is my guess. If not Friday, I'm going to do my best to see it Thursday. But I'm hearing Gorsall tonight said it's not quite the film that you see in the trailer. So that could be interesting when it comes to Cinema Score. We'll do that coming up. If not Thursday, then we'll do it on Sunday as far as a Woman King review. Doing a double feature on Thursday, Jay. That certainly is a good one, I would imagine, because I'm hearing most people that come out of The Woman King say it's a very solid film. So you have Pearl, very solid film, and then you have Woman King. We finally have a couple of great films in the marketplace, it appears, and that will help. That said, we know this. Pearl's not going to be this massive box office hit. X wasn't. So I think it's even going to be smaller than that because you still have Barbarian lingering. And then you look at Woman King. I'm curious how that's going to do. I really am. Hit me with a comment and let me know, what do you think about that? Because if we don't do a show on Thursday, because I don't know, maybe I want to take some downtime. We can talk box office Woman King as well. Rewatch X today, better on second viewing. I need to see it again. I only saw X once. But it was enough for me to know that it is truly a classic horror film, in my estimation. No question about it. X is better than Pearl. Ken, you've seen both. Good. But Mia Goth is better. We share the same brain. I just had this conversation with Chris Gore on the phone before I did the stream. I literally said this. X is better than Pearl, but Mia is better in Pearl than X. Because Pearl is Mia Goth. Mia Goth is Pearl. So this is her showcase of what she can do as a thespian, as an actress. And when you watch that scene, that monologue, the unveiling of every emotion that she goes through, and it's got to be at least 5 minutes, you're going to be like, oh my God, this is one of these moments that is going to show during the Oscars. And they say, Best Actress, Mia Goth, Pearl. In the Bizarro universe, where reality would be wonderful in this case, we would have Mia Goth in very serious contention for one of the 5 spots for Best Actress. That's how great it is. And I said this, it's a demented Dorothy from Wizard of Oz. There's some Wizard of Oz in there. There's certainly some Psycho, which I've heard a lot of, no question, after seeing it. It's there. Again, Portrait of a Serial Killer. You've got all these little elements. I mean, the Wizard of Oz stuff is on the nose for a little bit, and then it kind of disappears. So I would say a hybrid of a little Wizard of Oz, a lot of Psycho, and then Portrait of a Serial Killer, getting inside someone's head, Joker, if you want to go there. I mean, because we know that that's what Joker is, right? It's essentially a psychological breakdown of Joaquin Phoenix becoming Joker. And at that point, that's kind of what we get with Pearl. And it's a slow build, just like X, right, Ken? Exactly the same thing. X takes this long time, and so does Pearl. So you're sitting there going, oh, this isn't even a horror film. Oh, wait a second. Now it's a horror film. And once we get there, that's what we get. We get a major violent outbreak that is just intense. Okay, just be advised. Mia Goth is low key taking over Scream Queen status, and I love it. And Joshua, I think it's not just that; it's also, this is an actress, right? This is not just someone who does horror films. And I'm not, leaning and looking at, Jamie Lynn Curtis or something. I think she's obviously capable of doing more than that as well. But that's the troubling part when you watch like a Micah Monroe. Let's use her, and we watch The Watcher. And she's done all these Scream Queen things. But when you watch Micah Monroe in The Watcher, you say, this is an actress. This is someone that you can put in a very big film, and she's going to hold her own. And when you watch Pearl, any questions you had about Mia Goth and her ability to lay it all out there and to absolutely deliver is going to be quashed. You're going to have it all answered right here on Pearl. So I can't wait for you to see it, because this is one of the best performances of the year that I've seen. Granted, a lot more to see, but there's no way that it won't be in my top performances of the year. If Mia Goth gets an Oscar nomination, what film we should be getting for, X or Pearl? It would be certainly Pearl. For me, though, it's interesting. Great question, by the way, JT. For me, it's not, I wouldn't say Oscar, because that's not going to happen. Let's just be real. It's not going to happen. But when we start talking about critics groups, this is the kind of thing that I love to see a critics group do. Is remember back when we had Kelvin Harrison Jr. in Waves and Loose, 2019. You had 2 stellar performances from Kelvin in Loose and Waves. And I think that I love to see a combo. So you'd have Kelvin Harrison, Best Actor, Waves/Loose. In this case, Mia Goth, Best Actress, Pearl/X. That's how I would lay it out. And I think on both of those, given what she had to do in both Pearl and then to play 2 roles in X, who had a harder job to do this year than Mia Goth in Pearl and X? That's what you have to ask too. Whenever I have a head-to-head confrontation on my scorecard, when I'm looking at an actress, actor, supporting, whatever it is, I ask myself, what was a harder performance to pull off? And when I ask that question and I put it under the microscope of Pearl and X, and I go, wait a second, that's a difficult thing to do. What she does in both, and especially that monologue in Pearl, then you have a Best Actress candidate. It's not that hard. It's pretty straightforward. Sadvik, good evening to you. Jordan Peele should have pulled a Pearl where they made a Gordy prequel. I would like the Gordy prequel. It would probably be awesome, where we actually get to see the entire thing, and then maybe we can tie it into the UFO like we were talking about the other night. Oh my God. I think you should do an entire episode from the same angle. This is good, Josh. This is good. Hold on. I can't move the camera, but yeah, I know. Fine. I'll mix it up. I didn't go to the gym tonight, by the way. I feel like totally lazy. That's funny. Good one, Josh. Thoughts on Jimmy Kimmel laying on the stage during... Oh, let's get to that in a moment. I'll come back to that. I promise you. Mia Goth has that surreal thing about her in real life. She has that not from this world look. Some Humans has that dreamy thing about them. Superhero movies, 100% with you on that. She has a very unique look to her. She's beautiful, but she is a unique beauty, right? She's not that cookie cutter blonde or brunette, whatever. We know what we're saying. It's not that. It's very much of a unique look to her, and that's what makes her interesting when you watch. But it's not just that. It's the fact that she is able to open herself up fully to the camera and to the performance that we're seeing inside of her. And I think those are the best actors, right? When you can get what's inside out. through the lens into the film, right? So you're a living, breathing organism, and that is what Mia Goth does in Pearl. So she is no question someone that I would be looking at to add to my film in some way if I were directing any film. Can I get Mia Goth in my film? Aaliyah, good evening to you. A24 probably has a limited campaign budget. They want to focus on everything everywhere all at once. And they also have, you guys know The Whale. They have two big films. The Whale will be number one, and along with Everything Everywhere All at Once. You guys know how I feel about EEAAO. I do not think that's an awards film, not in my world. Listen, we're gonna have to get into that as we get closer to award season. Not an awards film for me. Michelle for Best Actress. The rest of the film, no. Certainly not screenplay. I mean, I'm going to have the best laugh ever if Everything Everywhere All at Once lands a whole bunch of screenplay nominations. I'm going to die. I am going to laugh for the entire day. I'll do a stream where I just laugh for an entire hour and just have on the screen a picture of all the nominations that say Everything Everywhere All at Once for screenplay. Like, that's good. That's really funny. When voting for awards, do you consider diversity such as race, ethnicity, like female directors being nominated? I know Stephen King got criticism. We say he doesn't consider diversity. Listen, this goes back to what I just talked about on Film Courage. I just mentioned this. It's so funny this comes up. When I watch a film, there is one thing that matters to me, and it is, what is the film that I'm watching? Not anything about behind the screen or any of that stuff. The off the field stuff doesn't matter. It's only the quality of the film, period. So if you were to ask me that question, I just answered it by saying the only thing that matters is the final product, not anything else. So there we go. I'm going to vote for what I consider to be the best, period, regardless of anything else. It's very simple. It's a meritocracy, isn't it? I mean, it's do you merit an award? That's all there is to consider, right? Someone tell me if that doesn't make sense to you. Like, what are you talking about, Eric? That doesn't make any sense. Like, how does it not? Mia's monologue should be studied in film class. Forget all the monologues from 30 years ago and just play this to students and break down the range of highs, lows, and studying delivery. Ken, that's I was left in a state of slack-jawed. I mean, I couldn't believe what I was experiencing when she starts on this, and you'll know when you see it. It's very close to the end, and it is long. It's got to be 5 minutes, and the fact that she was able to, just like you said, go through this entire range of emotions over this long monologue where she spills her guts on her entire life and all of the things that have troubled her, all the things that she's trying to fix. She's basically, it is a version. Listen, honestly, this is a version of Joker or any movie. I use Joker because obviously it's the most recent, and pretty much everyone's seen Joker recently. The most recent mental breakdown. This is a person who is in need of serious mental health help. Okay, that is what is happening in Pearl. It's the story of someone who's disturbed and not mentally all there. And that is just like a Joker or any movie. You have a slow devolve into this, lost soul. I think another film that does that very well recently is you guys know how much I love Saint Maud, right? Same kind of thing. So very similar psychological thriller, and it's very much a heady film. So just know that as you go in. It's not X. X is much more of a pure horror film, even though I know some of you don't think it is, than Pearl is, but there are plenty of violent flourishes in Pearl. You just have to wait for them. Appears Mia is in a relationship with Shia. They have a kid, don't they? They have a baby. I think baby boy or girl. I'm not certain on that, but I know that they have a child. It's interesting here. Let's talk about that for just a moment. Shia, or is it Shia? Someone tell me finally which one it is. I'm going to say Shia. He was actually brought up, right? He was actually raised in stature based on what happened with the Don't Worry Darling thing, don't you think? I mean, if you look at kind of like the realm of public opinion, it feels like he kind of got a little resurgence after being largely canceled for the stuff that he's been accused of doing. That was an interesting thing. But I don't know, man. I really feel like you shouldn't be penalized because you have a relationship with someone that is troubled. That's fine. We can just say that. I mean, ultimately, again, it's all about what's on the screen. Unless you're, a child killer or something like that, then we have to change the rules a little bit. But if you're just someone who is, dating somebody who people have a problem with, come on, man. Like what Sydney Sweeney, that whole thing, that was so ridiculous. It's like, what are we doing where we're like saying, because you talked to that person, I can't talk to you again, and you're a horrible person. I don't think that way. Okay. If you do, it's your own choice. I don't, and I choose not to. I choose to be more open in my thoughts and say I certainly love to listen to lots of opinions from both sides, from the left, from the right, from the center, because ultimately center cut. That's who I am. I'm a center cut person. So I'm going to agree sometimes on the left, sometimes on the right, and eventually I'm going to try to come down on the right side of it, whatever that is. So don't be so tribal. Stop being tribal. Tribal stuff sucks. Be your own tribe. Do not ascribe to be just like everybody who does X or just like this. Certainly, if you have beliefs, that's fine, but don't always say they have to fall in line. Like, let's say you're a hardcore Republican, hardcore Democrat. Maybe there's times where your party doesn't align with your views. Then maybe you're not one of those two things. Maybe you're in the middle. It's better to always be in a space where you can judge individual things on their own value and merit. Hey, we're back to the question that we just talked about. When you vote for the best thing. Ken, Bodies gave us free alcohol before the screening, and I savaged it. Yeah, A24 doesn't know what to make of me. I come out of Bodies, I hate it. I come out of Pearl, I say it's really strong. I come out of X, love it. Marcel the Shell, love it. A24 is so polarizing, right? That is the studio that if you ask what studio has the most polarizing films, A24. Neon would be close, but I would say Neon is more, I hate to say this, and Neon's going to hate me for saying this. I don't care. I think I've already been sold off by Neon. Neon is more miss than it is hit. I'm going to be honest with you guys. It's more miss than hit. A24 is more hit than miss, okay? And that's why A24 is valued more than Neon. And I think that A24 is so valuable and important to the ecosystem of theatrical for sure. Because remember when we went through COVID, they were the one studio that said, we're going to hold our stuff until theatrical is back. In fact, First Cow was in theaters, and then they didn't even put it on VOD. They waited a little bit, then they put it on VOD. Then they said, we're not putting anything else out. They held St. Maud that was supposed to come out. They held that. So they are very valuable to theatrical landscape, not just because of how they value theatrical, but because of the diversity they bring to this to the field. Think of the films that they brought in the past year alone. When you look at an X, a Pearl, Bodies, The Whale's coming up. You have, and then of course you have Everything Ever All at Once and Marcel the Shell. This is, talk about a diverse range of films, okay? So A24, for my money, if you ask me what film do I want to watch, I want to watch an A24 film because the chances are I'm going to like it more than dislike it. That's why I want to watch it. By the way, we are into open comment time. So whatever you want to do, let's do it here on this Tuesday. And still deciding if we're going to do a Thursday show. If we don't, then let's just let it all hang out here on this Tuesday. And let's do the box office stuff now. Because we can do that. It's like, it's not too early to start talking about the weekend box office. By the way, tonight's kit, Manchester City on this Tuesday night. Let's get back to the comments here. Thanks for joining me again. Give me a like, subscribe if you haven't. You've already subscribed. Give me a like. All right. I appreciate you guys being here. David, given how the non-original Hollywood is now in terms of sequels, remakes, MCU, I tend to rate original works on a curved scale because they're trying new things and being original versus retreading ground. I would agree with you 100%. When you ask me if I'd rather see an original film or a remake or a sequel, I'm usually 95% of the time or higher going to say, give me the original film. And that's A24, except in this case where it's Pearl. It's very unusual for them to have a sequel or prequel. They've had very few. I mean, God, how many sequels has A24 had? There's a good question. This can't be the first, is it? Is this the first A24 sequel? I'm just going off the top of my head. I've been with A24 since the beginning, back in 2011, 2012, right? Going back to Spring Breakers, even before that. And then that stretch where we got Locke, where we got End of the Tour, Ex Machina. There are so many awesome films from A24 in that 12, 14, 15 range. But I don't know. Have they had a sequel or prequel before this? Someone tell me. I'm not going to look. I'm going to let you guys tell me without. That's tonight's question. Have they ever had a sequel or prequel before that. Besides that, purely objective or neutral. Yeah, exactly. You gotta be objective or neutral. You have to be going into every single film. Okay. It's Shia. Okay, thank you. That has finally been confirmed by Jay. If you're wrong, everyone blame Jay. Jay, you're to blame if I say Shia and it's Shia. I'm going Shia for the rest of time. Thank you, Jay. Aaliyah, I agree. I was just wondering because Hollywood's about networking and appearance. Wait, I'm skipping around. I might have missed what the first half of that is. Yeah, I mean, listen, okay, let's just talk about this. Is Hollywood about networking and appearance? 120%. People are afraid to say the truth. They want to tell you what they think you want to hear, which I don't think is very good. I don't absolutely subscribe at all to that. I subscribe to tell people what the truth is. I recently had two situations where I could have sugarcoated my reply to the persons that I talked to about situations or films. And instead, I went with what the truth was for me, my truth. And in both cases, I felt much better about that because that's who I am ultimately as a truth seeker. So I don't really have any interest in saying, oh my God, your outfit looks amazing. And in my head, I'm like, that is one of the worst looking things I've ever seen. What are you doing wearing that? Okay. So there's now, granted, there's a middle ground where you don't say that. You just say, yeah, I think have you tried maybe wearing it this way or maybe something, right? There's always a way to switch it up. But in Hollywood, it's all about, oh God, I love you in this. You're so amazing. You're so great. And I think that's why when I have these conversations with directors or actors coming up here during award season, there's lots of opportunity for that. So when you go up to somebody and you give them bullshit line like, oh my God, I love your movie. And they're like, why? I mean, in their head, they're probably like, why? Versus you come in and you say, I love the film, and the thing I love most about it is the score. Like I told you the story, if you haven't been here on MMT for long, the story about Bo Burnham. When I went to see 8th Grade, he was doing a meet and greet afterwards, and I went up to him, and the one thing that standed out for me from 8th Grade that was I knew different than probably what most people saw or heard was the score by Anna Meredith. So I said, okay, I'm going to tell Bo I like the score. And you know what happened all of a sudden? He went from this like glossed over look, like, people going, I love the film. Oh my God, you're so great. He went like this. And all of a sudden when I said score, look, imagine I'm looking here. He went like this. He goes, it wasn't it? It really was. I thought the same thing. So right there, we had a connection because it was real. It was grounded in truth. It wasn't grounded in bullshitting. And I think that's the key. And that's what we do here on MMT. And I know there's a lot of people here on YouTube who've been doing it longer than me, who've been doing whatever they do. But the one thing they're not is real. They're not a real person. Okay. And I think you guys know from watching this channel, that's the one thing I am. If there's any one thing you say, that guy is real, there's no BS here. Because that's who I am. I don't want to be a BSer. I don't want to be a shill. I just want to be real. And sometimes that's uncomfortable. Okay. I get it. And other times it's dead on and it feels organic and truthful and you love it. That's great. So the point here is please try to do that same thing in life. Don't be this fake person. Be a real person. I think people know. People can tell. Film and art in general should be based on talent and execution. Fitness Julian, thanks for coming back to the channel. Welcome back. Gender, race, etc. While it has its importance, should not interfere with your judgment of the work itself. I agree with that statement. I do. Because ultimately, isn't that okay? So based on this is a tough conversation, but let's just do it because that's what we like to do here. Just talked about being real. Okay, so if we are going to be as unbiased as possible, we are going to value every single performance in every film the same way. We are not going to slide the scales because of a factor or two factors or three. We're going to judge that thing based on all the other things equally as much as possible. And I don't see why that should be so hard because ultimately for me, people are people. Okay. So it doesn't matter what you look like. You're still a person. And so you're doing the same thing as another person. So why am I going to value this over that? I'm going to see you the same. So it's about equality. And that's just the starting point for all of this. So that's why I 100% agree with that, Julian. And I don't know why. Tell me how that's wrong. I think that's the only way to do this. So I get a little lost when people say, I remember reading this one time. I'm not going to tell you what the film was or what it is. I'm not going to get into that. I remember reading a review one time, and it was, am I going to say what it was? It was like, this film was directed by blank. That's a reason enough to like the film. And I'm like, what? No, 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 it's not. No, it's not. Because now you are changing the criteria for evaluating the film. You're telling me that the film is better because of this factor. And that's not cool. I don't like that. It's not how I'm going to do it. It just doesn't make sense to me. Tell me, come to me now and tell me in the comments that I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong about what I just said. You know I'm right. September is supposed to be a dumping ground for films. Shang-Chi, Barbarian, Pearl, Woman King, see how they run. Apparently it's pretty good. I'm going to see that. Silent Twins, Don't Worry, Darling, Smile. September's not a dumping ground like August. August is a pure trash zone, okay? It is generally where you dump stuff that is going nowhere. We saw August was just a dead zone at the multiplex. Now, September is really the start of award season. Remember what I say about September. You can get in September, but it's going to be very hard to keep the momentum going throughout the rest of award season. That's why most studios push to October or November. But September's generally a pretty decent month. You bring up Shang-Chi last year, no question. I mean, huge hit over Labor Day. Can't wait to see The Whale. I can't either. I'm waiting for A24 to give me screenings of that. Cannot wait. I'm sure. I have a feeling at the end of the day, we're going to be looking at Brendan Fraser as best actor, because the narrative, the story, because the story that Brendan has is going to be really hard to beat. The resurgence, the return of an actor that was big in the 90s, and here he is making his triumphant return to film. I think it's going to be very hard to beat that narrative. Very hard. So I think ultimately, when we look at winner, it's going to be him. Now, do I want to see Austin Butler in the conversation right there? 100%. Does he deserve a nomination? Yes. But beating Brendan Fraser is going to be very difficult for anybody this year. I don't care who else comes in last minute. I don't care if it's Babylon and Brad Pitt. I don't care what it is. It's going to be very hard to beat Brendan Fraser because of the narrative. Yes, I am going to go see how they run probably this weekend. This is what I have the A-list for. There was a screening of it tonight. Or no, I think it's tomorrow. I could see it tomorrow. I might just wait to see it this weekend. It's not a film that I feel this compelling urge to run out to see. And I think now I'm at the point, LA, we've talked about it. LA's a pain in the ass to get around sometimes. Like to get home from Pearl was 30 minutes. I know you guys are like, well, 30 minutes. But to get there was 30 minutes. So it's an hour of driving, right, to go see the movie. If I go to see Burbank, AMC 16 down the street, it takes me 3 minutes and 3 minutes, right? 6 minutes. So ultimately, if it's not a film that I'm compelled to run out and see, I'm just going to see it on A-list. It's $24, 12 movies for the whole month, 3 a week. I'll just see it there. So it really just depends on how compelling and how urgent the film feels. I echo the earlier question, intrigued about your opinion about Quentin Brunson, Kimmel said, okay, I did mention, I'm going to go back to that. I know that Josh mentioned that. It's comedy that didn't work, right? Jimmy Kimmel, what he did on the stage, lying on the stage, and then she was stepping over him. That didn't work. Whatever the comedy bit that Jimmy had in his head did not work. I mean, I think we can all agree on that. I mean, does he deserve to be canceled for that? I mean, come on. It's comedy. Comedy doesn't always work. I get it. Maybe it should not have been done at all. Okay, I'm not going to, that we can say, but it still is, come on. It's not like the most egregious thing I've ever seen. But again, it definitely was not great. Nick, doing a double feature, see how they run in Woman King. Monday, Pearl, Tuesday. See, Nick, you're doing it. You're going to see all these things. I'm going to see them too. I'll probably see Woman King, if not Thursday, then Friday. See how they run maybe Saturday. Maybe I'll see it Thursday. I don't know. It just, flexibility is good too, right? There's all these movies that I can go check out down the street. Why not? Just wait. There's no rush. Except for I wanted to see Pearl tonight. That's why we're doing the stream. By the way, 20-minute warning. 20 minutes, get the comments in, and tell me if I'm wrong. That whole thing, I'm really curious what you think about the meritocracy of this, right? Is that the right mindset to go in when you're judging performances for awards? Yes, but tell me if you agree. Curious why you're so low on the menu. Mark Mylod's a great director. TV's in a way. Yeah, I haven't watched Succession. I agree. The cast looks good, David. I don't know. When I watched the trailer, I just not that excited by it. But that I'll see it, and I could be wrong. Remember, when I get to the film, eventually I'm going to have a flat, basic neutral stance on it. I just got invited to Amsterdam. I'm going to see that on the 19th. I think it's Monday. I'll see that Monday. We might do a stream Monday for Amsterdam. Depends on how much I like it. If it's forgettable, if I like it, or if it's bad, we might do a stream for sure. So think about that. I'll let you know. How much do you think Pearl's going to do box office wise this weekend? X $14 million back in March. That was the total for X. That was not the opening weekend, right? Opening weekend was like 4. Pearl is wide. Okay, so Pearl's wide. I don't know if they have a theater count, but let's say 3,000. Let me pull up what X did box office wise. Give me 1 second. Let's pull it up. Let's go to share screen. Okay, let's get X's opening weekend here. Give me just a moment to load. Okay, domestic box office. Okay, let's roll down. It's going to be way down here near the bottom. Hold on. Let's go to overall releases. I got to find it. This is not laid out right. Here we go. Let's do gross. Okay, this is exciting. This is thrilling streaming. Let's go through all the movies on Box Office Mojo. Okay, let's roll down to find X. We're down to 38, 39. There it is, 45. Okay, so X has 11.7 million. It opened at 4,275 at 2,800 theaters. Remember, though, this was back in March 18th, okay? That was when people were looking for things to see at the multiplex. And I think that we now, with Barbarian in the multiplex, we have See How They Run. I think that's limited, though. Woman King, you've got some options. So I am going to say that Pearl will do less than X because of the fact there's more competition. And I think it ends up with an opening of about 3.8 million is my number. So very similar, but lower, okay? But that's my guess right now as I look at X sitting there at 4.2. I'll go 3.8 for Pearl. Give me your number. Hit me with a number. A24 announced a trilogy. Yeah, and Maxine, I cannot wait. It's going to follow Mia Goth's character from X as she walks out and goes to Hollywood to become a star. I cannot wait. 80s movie set in Hollywood. Are you kidding me? I need this cliche injected into my veins. Let's see what else we got here tonight. Eric, what do you think of the upcoming movie Ticket to Paradise? It looks like I saw the whole movie during the trailer. You watch the trailer in Universal every single time. Hey, here's the entire movie. Literally from the twist, look at the Black Phone trailer. Go back and watch the Black Phone trailer. You've all seen Black Phone. It's over, I think it's 150 million worldwide. So watch the trailer. It literally shows you everything but the end. And not even argue the end is in there. I mean, that is how Universal's got to stop with their trailers. They've got to figure out a way to cover them up and to not make them so wide open. Look, we are going to give this full transparency. Here's our entire movie. I don't understand the mindset of doing that because it ruins the experience for me. I did not watch the trailer for Babylon today because I'm going to probably see it in the theater, which would be perfect. I'd rather see it there than on a computer monitor. Also, though, I really don't want to know anything about the film. I told you guys I don't go out of my way to watch trailers. Now, if I go to an A-list movie and it's in front of me, I have to watch it. But I didn't watch Babylon. I'm never going to do a trailer reaction. I'm never going to do one of those. But you'd have more viewers. You'd have more subscribers. Fine. So be it. I don't care. You know what? I had this discussion with someone. I'm not going to tell you who it was today. Funny story. They said, hey, I got a way for you to build more. I go, listen, I'll be honest with you in a weird way. I actually just love the little community we have. I honestly do. I'd rather have almost a small little niche thing going on here than some out of proportion big, I'm going to say the name, Grace Randolph, because I can tell you right now from watching Grace's videos, and I will admit this, Grace is very successful. But when I watch Grace's videos, I don't become smarter. Okay. I hope that when you watch Midnight Movie Talk, you become a little bit smarter. You become a little bit more open to different ideas and to different ways of thinking. It's not just about movies. It's about almost like a psychology of life. That's what I really am more interested in. So if that's what we're building, that's cool. I don't care. We could have 5 people on the stream. I don't give a shit. It doesn't matter. It's all about connection and community. Those are the two things I'm looking for here. So the rest, if it comes, it comes. But ultimately, it'll all be about a one-to-one relationship with you guys, and that's why I love having you guys here. So just know that. Was that genuine? It was. Oh my God, he's not some shill fake person on YouTube. This movie was amazing. Oh my God, did you see that part where if anyone cuts that out and uses that, I swear to God, you know what I'm talking about. It's embarrassing. Don't you feel like cringe when you watch those with these people sometimes? You watch, you're like, this is cringeworthy. This is what is popular. I don't want to be popular. If that's what popular is, I'm out. I don't care. I'm going to do this niche little thing that is, we're the A24 of YouTube movie shows. That's what Midnight Movie Talk is. Boom. That's what it is. And that's what it will continue to be as long as it exists. Locke, criminally underrated, no question. One of my top A24 films. Perfect timing with the comment, kid. I mean, Locke is riveting. You are in a car with Tom Hardy as he's talking to his girlfriend, who is not, he's not married to, right? He's married to someone else. It's been forever, like a decade since I watched it. And he's talking to this person, and he's got to deal with some situation back at work, and all these different phone calls are coming in. And you're locked in the car for like an hour and a half on cell phone calls. And it's just Tom Hardy's face. It's so great. Locke is awesome. And that's a performance that should have absolutely been an awards performance. That's how I'd do it. How much do you think Pearl's going to do? Okay, well, sorry, I already did this. We already did it. I say 3.8. Speaking of A24, I want to see Brendan Fraser's performance in The Whale. It's not just a contender, Rob. Welcome back to the channel. It's also the lead contender. It's number one. I'm telling you now, if you had to put money on one thing from this upcoming award season, put it on Brendan Fraser, The Whale. I don't need to see the film. It's the narrative that's going to win. The fact he's good in it, apparently, and I don't doubt that at all. That is icing on the cake. The narrative is enough. And the fact that you have Aronofsky directing, you have all the elements, he's going to win Best Actor. And I know you guys, oh my God, what an amazing prophecy by you, Eric. But I'm just telling you that that's what's going to happen. And you guys know it's about narratives are hard to beat when it comes to awards. We are Gen X, takes too much effort to bullshit. We don't have the ability to put in the effort. So true. Generation X, the best generation in the history of mankind. I don't want to entertain any other suggestions. Don't come at me with anything else, not even the greatest generation. Generation X, number one, because we don't bullshit, and we also don't trust anybody, which makes us perfect, right? We don't trust anybody to say anything until we actually see it. That's how we are. It's how we, and that's what I think that's weird, because Ken and I, we almost share a brain. It's very strange, but we're also of the same generation, so that explains it. I think people put on a facade because they want to get along with everyone. It's not a good thing to do. I think being stern in conviction is a better way to go. I agree with you. Listen, I'm not saying go out of your way to not get along with people. That's not what the message is here tonight from MMT. The message is, don't just go along to get along. Don't just say things that are platitudes to make people say, oh, what a wonderful person. But in their head, they're saying that, but in their head, they know that you're fake. They do, right? We all know that person, that when you talk to them, they're not really a real person, right? They're like, this is like, hey, I'm here. And you're like, you're not real. There's almost like an act going on here. Don't do that. Get rid of that. Be real. And I think that's the takeaway. And not to be gruff and rude, like it says here, don't be an a-hole, but also be real, be fearless, and just be you, okay? There, does Grace Randolph ever say that? Has she ever said anything as groundbreaking as that? Of course she hasn't. That's what we'll just sit here and I should get clips of Grace Randolph and have her saying something, and then a clip of me saying, be your own person. Are these even the same? What are they? These aren't even the same things. Like, one is, these are two different things. That's what we're doing here. We're not doing that. We're doing something bigger and bolder. We're the A24 of YouTube movie shows. Copyrighted. Don't you dare. If someone steals that, I will come find you. Nick, the praise surrounding Brendan Fraser could make me more happier as deserving as Michelle Yeoh would be to win. She has a harder path. Agree. Really hard. Quan, I would agree. Supporting for sure. It's a weak category, and supporting anything can go. Pretty much anything. Now, as far as the front runner, that could be different, right? But as far as getting a nomination, anything can go. So we'll see what happens with that. Would you say any film outside of The Fablemans and Babylon has a legit chance to win Best Picture? Yes. You know what it is? Top Gun Maverick. Yes, you got it. It's Top Gun Maverick. Top Gun Maverick could end up with the Best Picture win because it is a sensation. It's a phenomenon. It has everybody loves the film. So when you get to that level, you have a chance to win Best Picture. It's getting a nomination. There's no chance it doesn't, okay? So now we're talking about the win. It's going to be between, from what I can tell, ask me 3 films. Maverick, Fablemans, Babylon. Those are your 3. Those are your 3 big heavyweight contenders slugging it out for Best Picture, Best Director, okay? So once we get to that, I think what we're going to see, I'm going to throw it out here tonight. It is now 9:50 on the West Coast on the 13th of September. The winner of Best Picture is Top Gun Maverick. The winner of Best Director is Damien Chazelle, Babylon. I really wanted to say Spielberg for Fablemans. I'm going to roll the dice and go Chazelle, and that's going to be our lock-in here at 9:52. If that comes to fruition, we got it here, okay? Otherwise, it's Babylon winning. It's Babylon winning and Spielberg director. Okay, those are our two things. I was gonna watch Fast and Furious 1 re-release tomorrow. Oh God, no. Listen, they're better in the beginning. 7's solid. You know, when Paul drives off into the sunset, right? That is beautiful. What an emotional film. And then everything after that's been hell. Interesting story. I used to work out at the same gym with Paul Walker, and it was weird that when I was, this is way back when he was doing Fast and Furious. It's weird, like, when you've been in the same space as some of these people, it's very strange when you read stories. I can't describe it. It's very strange. I'll never forget that when Paul Walker passed, I remember thinking back to being like 3 feet away from him at the gym. It's weird how life is like that. Like, we have these paths that intersect for like moments. And I think that there's no question that when Paul moves on and in the way that was handled in was 7, I think, right? Wow, what a beautifully directed film. I don't like Grace Randolph. We're gonna go down a rabbit hole. Listen, I'm gonna say this. I don't dislike Grace Randolph. I don't watch Grace Randolph. I've seen a little bit of it. It's not for me, okay? But let's make one thing perfectly clear. She has a very big audience. People clearly either like or don't like her. You don't get to the level she has without people finding her watchable, okay? There's no way. So we can argue about whether Grace is good or bad or whatever it is, but ultimately you can't argue that she's successful. And I think ultimately that's a great thing to be. You can never, not be excited or give someone plaudits for being successful. I think that's pretty cool for anybody. And she was also one of the first, right? Along with Chris Duckman and all these guys. And listen, I've been doing this for like 6 months, so I'm like way behind. But that's perfect. That gives us the perfect space to operate in this little niche world of midnight movie talk, which is great because at some point I wouldn't want to have 10 billion comments where I can't get to you guys. That would suck. I'd be like, I can't get to all these comments. The point is I want to have conversation with you. 7-minute warning, 7-minute. Kennigan, whatever happened to the film Operation Fortune? The Guy Ritchie film was supposed to come out earlier this year. What studio was that? If it was Netflix, it might have get buried. I don't know. Tell me the studio on that. I remember hearing about it. I'm curious about that film with Tom Hardy. Havoc. It's Gareth Evans from The Raid 2. And it's a Netflix film, and it's on the fence. I actually sent an email to Netflix today asking about is 2 films I'm curious about. Rustin, which is a film that I think is coming 2023, but they have not fully announced it. The other one is The Killer? Is that Fincher's film? Is it for sure into 2023? It's the kind of thing that you could see last minute, them saying, oh, by the way, here's The Killer. And all of a sudden you're like, oh God, here comes a Fincher film. So everything gets reshuffled as far as Babylon, Fablemans, Maverick. And all of a sudden you have this Fincher movie. So we'll see. I have not heard back, so I'm curious if that has been pulled from the schedule or if it's fully in there. They have not said. We've seen that happen in years past where there were films that were on the bubble and they decided to shove, like Apple shoved Killers of the Flower Moon into 2023 because Paramount has a theatrical on that, and they probably looked at the landscape and said, hey, this is looking like we have some real heavyweights here. Maybe if we push to 2023, we can get away from a Maverick, get away from a Babylon, get away from Fablemans, and maybe Killer if it comes out. A lot of these films, and you get your own kind of front runner thing right off the bat with Killers of the Flower Moon, which will be the case with Scorsese in 2023. I hope Amsterdam is good, promoting like crazy. They didn't go to festivals, which is curious. I love the fact they don't go to festivals because I don't go to festivals. I don't think, for me, I want to get on a plane and fly to Toronto, which is a long-ass flight from LA, right? I hate getting on planes for long flights. I can do like an hour, Phoenix, Vegas, Seattle. Anything beyond that, I'm like, nah, it's too far. Too far. Sorry, I don't want to get on a plane. But the other thing is it's very expensive to go. And the truth is, we get to see these films like days after they screen. So, great example. Pearl screened at Toronto last night at midnight. I saw it today at 5. Would it have been worth it to fly to Toronto to see Pearl 10 hours before I did? No. That's why I don't go to festivals. And ultimately, I told you guys this so many times, I don't like watching 3 or 4 films in a day. 2 is my max. Preferably 1, because that allows me to focus on one film. Like tonight, we're only talking about Pearl. I didn't see Pearl and The Woman King. Otherwise, I might have, get a little scattered. Like, okay, let's talk here and talk. No, we're only talking about Pearl tonight. If you missed any of that, go back to the beginning of the stream. You'll see it. We talked about it without a single spoiler, which who else does that? Nobody else does. That's the other thing we do better than anybody else here at Midnight Movie Talk. We don't spoil films. We should do a top 10 A24 stream episode. All members vote. I agree. Let's do that. Let's do it sometime. We'll do it maybe next week. Let me put it in the community tab. I'll put in the community tab the day we're going to do that. You guys give me your top 10 A24 films, and we will gun through it. I'll reveal mine. I've kind of already said this on Twitter a few times, but I can reevaluate those films. But I know this, that when you talk about A24 films that are underrated and people do not discuss enough, the number one film for me is The End of the Tour. I don't know if I've ever discussed it on a stream, and we'll talk about it when we do that. But I will say this, End of the Tour is one of the most beautiful films that I've ever seen. Not just A24. I love the relationship. Okay, I love Jason Segel, Jesse Eisenberg, the fact it's based on a true story, the fact that it's got tragedy to it. And I remember just a few months ago, I was in Pasadena going to get a drink with Chris Gore over at the 35er there in Old Town, Pasadena. And I'm walking out of a store, I think it was Nike. I come out of the Nike store, like that matters. And I look up and, oh my God, it's Jason Segel, by the way, who's tall. And I go, this is my moment. This is my chance. And I was nervous. I swear to God I was. And I went up and I said, Jason, I just wanted you to know that I think your performance in End of the Tour is magnificent. I mean, truly, the fact that was not a major awards player that year. Of course, now I'm talking like awards ace, but I literally couldn't stop myself. And he was really cool. He was very low key. And he's just like, man, I really appreciate that. Thank you. It really means a lot to me. Thank you. And then I just said, okay, thank you. And I went off. I didn't keep him there, but I was so happy to have that moment to tell Jason Segel how much I love The End of the Tour. I adore the film, and I love him in the film. If you've not watched The End of the Tour, you need to watch that film. It is beautiful. It is just everything about that relationship and their discussions about life. Really is poignant stuff. Jonathan, good evening to you. Betting Netflix release strategy for Glass Onion will backfire. Announcing a streaming date means people will wait. That's what I've always said here from day one on MMT. When you announce a streaming date for your film, you instantly remove a portion of the audience who's like, oh, I only have to wait 2 weeks or 3 weeks, or Top Gun Maverick was smart. 4 months. That's why Top Gun Maverick is now at almost $5 billion worldwide, because they didn't announce it was going to be on Paramount Plus in 2 weeks or 2 months. They said 4 months, and everyone was like, I can't wait. I can't wait. I have to go see it, especially when everyone was talking about it because it's so great. That's how you drive butts into the theater. You have a compelling film that is excellent, combined with exclusivity equals money. And I don't think Netflix still gets it. Even with a film like Glass Onion that has theatrical written all over it, just like Knives Out did for Lionsgate, When you spend as much money as they did on Glass Onion, I don't know why you don't want to have a large theatrical component with AMC, Regal, all of them for at least 3 weeks, minimum 3 weeks. Okay. I would say a month, but let's just say 3 weeks, not 2, 3, and then get them into the major chains. And why wouldn't they take that deal now? AMC and Regal need product. Why wouldn't they take an exclusive film for 3 weeks? We've seen them do it with Paramount. And I mean, actually, with Universal, Universal had that, 11-day window or 17-day window with a lot of their films that were right in between the COVID and the non-COVID. So now the fact that Universal is going back to day and date with Halloween Ends is like, what the hell are we doing here, man? It doesn't make any sense to me. We have like a 1 minute. Let's go. Let's do it. Paul is great in Cobra Kai. Paul Walter Hauser is awesome. I've talked to him so many times. He's such a grounded, cool dude. What an awesome person to meet out here in LA. I can't wait to watch Cobra Kai. By the way, just so you guys know, I watched Cobra Kai when it was on YouTube. So who was the originator on that? Me. I was watching YouTube Cobra Kai, not Netflix Cobra Kai. I was watching it then, way back when, going, this show's badass. And you know why? Number one thing I love about that film, we're going to wrap the stream on this, and then we'll go to the next stream soon. But I just got to get Cobra Kai in here at the end. The number one thing I love about that film is when I watch Cobra Kai is when you have the opening of season 1, when Johnny is driving down the street listening to 80s music, okay? And there are beer bottles in his apartment. I watched that for a moment and I said, my God, someone watched how I live. I said, this is my life, Johnny Lawrence. So I love the show. I cannot wait to watch season 5. And I will do so. And maybe we'll do a little bit about that, but it is midnight movie talk, not midnight show talk. But you guys know we can broaden the scope to talk about all kinds of things here. Again, thank you for joining me here tonight. I'm not sure about a stream on Thursday. Let me see how I feel. I might be a little tired. I might just want to see a movie and do nothing. And if that's the case, we'll be back on Sunday. Check the community tab. It's been updated, and we'll do that A24 thing probably next week. It's a great show. Your top 10 A24 films, and we'll break them down with mine, and we'll go over that. That's what it's all about. It's about community. 1, 2, back and forth. That's what it's about here on MMT. Thank you for watching. The show is over. Enjoy the rest of your night. I'll see you back here maybe Thursday. If not, Sunday. MMT is out. Good night to you.